What is up guys, Andy Forrest Team Runner here and welcome back to another video, and today we're talking all about the Nike Zoom Fly 5 after 100 miles. So this shoe has been a phenomenal addition to my marathon training rotation. Contrary to what a lot of other people find about this shoe, I've been absolutely loving it. But of course we've hit the 100-mile mark pretty quickly, and I want to share with you guys the usual stuff, the wear and tear, how I've been using it and will I continue to use it moving forwards, and basically showcase how this thing is holding up after the first milestone at 100 miles. If you're excited for today's video guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and we'll start with the wear and tear. So this shoe is an absolute tank, and obviously being a tank kind of comes with the downside of it having quite a lot of weight to it. Sadly, a little bit too much, and let's hope they rectify that in future versions. But in terms of wear and tear, with it being such a tank, there really is barely anything bar a bit of mud and a bit of dust to show you guys with the wear and tear. It's holding up really, really well. So in terms of the upper, it's just looking absolutely perfect, as it was, bar the fact that it's a little bit dirtier than what it was. Now at the moment I'm running on predominantly road and a bit of fire track trail with this shoe. It's got good grip on both of them. We'll talk about how I've been using it shortly, but in terms of the dust and the dirt, that's where it's collecting it. You can see it is quite dusty. Look at the midsole, it's collecting it in the creases here. If I turn the midsole around the other side here, you'll see in particular this side, it really has collected some of that dust. But overall, it's still holding up really well, still super springy, super soft and super bouncy. In terms of the outsole, there is zero wear and tear anywhere, and that's what I mean when I say it's built like a tank. Like if you look at the outsole rubber in particular, there is no wear spots at all. There's just nothing. It's holding up so well. Obviously this section here, the exposed SR02 foam, and then you've got the Zoom X underneath that, is looking a little bit grey and dusty, but overall in terms of how it's performing and how it's holding up, it's just doing so well. So how have I been using this shoe to get it to 100 miles so quickly? Because I think we're around the three week mark since when I purchased this shoe and bought it and did the first run in it. So it's really got there quite quickly, which shows how valuable it's been to me in this marathon training block. I've been using it a lot in my workouts and my long runs, and I'm going to explain the kind of pace ranges so that you guys can get an idea as to where it might fit into your rotation if you're curious about getting the Zoom Fly 5. So we'll start with the long runs. The long runs have just been moderate efforts. That's basically what my long runs have been. As I just said earlier, it's a good long run moderate. It's a good moderate shoe. I've got other shoes that I would do separate moderate runs in. I just feel like for the duration and length of time, the cushioning that this thing offers is great. I don't feel like moderate running is its sweet spot though. I feel like a step up is where this thing really comes to life, although it does handle the moderate long runs really, really well. And to be honest with you, at the moment there's not another shoe I'd look into my rotation to go for right now for a long run than this thing, just because of the cushioning and the comfort that this offers. But in terms of the workouts, that's where I feel this shoe comes alive. I really assumed wrongly that the weight was going to be a massive detriment to this shoe, and obviously just to clarify things, UK size 13, nearly 400 grams in my size, which is massive. I assumed the weight would be an issue, but it's just not. When you get moving in this shoe, you get moving and you don't even notice it. So I've done things like kilometre repeats, 3-minute repeats, kilometre repeats, mile repeats in this shoe. I've also done longer marathon pace interval work, and that's where I find this thing's sweet spot. When I've been doing work slightly slower, at goal marathon pace and slightly faster, those runs are the ones where this thing absolutely excels. Mile repeats and kilometre repeats, this thing is really good at too, and I really enjoy picking up the pace. I also find that when I put on the Vaporflies after running in this thing, I feel super, super light and super, super speedy, which again is a great psychological thing to know that I can hit really fast paces in this, but then go quicker when I put on the Vaporfly. And I think that's where I feel this benefit of this is obviously the weight is massive and it's too high, and well, let's hope it, as I said, it comes down in future versions. But I do feel when I slip the Vaporfly on and do workouts in that, it feels absolutely even easier. In terms of heart rate, something that I've noticed when I've been doing this is about 2 beats a minute higher than when I use the Vaporfly, which is really not that much. So this shoe, I've always said from the beginning when I've done my other 2 videos, I feel really efficient in this shoe, and that just shows. I've done a couple of runs in the Vaporfly and also in the Zoomfly. Compare the two data wise, and obviously there are variables, there's heat, there's temperature, there's everything, but on the whole there's been a consistent 2 to 3 beats a minute difference across the runs that I can see, and that for me highlights the fact that this thing is efficient, but you do still manage to get the edge when you slip the Vaporfly on. So as I said, in terms of usage, moderate long runs, mile repeats, kilometer repeats and marathon pace work, this thing has been eating those up. So will I continue to use this shoe moving forward? You better believe it will be putting a heck of a lot more miles in this thing. I think it's going to hit 200 miles sooner rather than later. Now, of course, I'm only halfway through my marathon training block, so this thing is going to be seeing the marathon block right out until the end, and even after that it will continue to be used for a good long run shoe. What I find this shoe offers is comfort and cushioning where I need it. So when I'm out doing these longer marathon paced efforts, I feel like this thing is just helping me to get those efforts done, but also not beating the body up as much as some of the other shoes would, and that's why I think I've been feeling so fresh during a lot of my marathon training. So yeah, this thing's going to get a lot more use. Now, I do have other shoes in for testing at the moment. Endorphin Pro 3 has just landed on my doorstep on Saturday, which I'm super excited about. So that will be tested this week. So over the next week or two, this thing will have a little bit of downtime. It will still be used, probably on the weekend, maybe not, I don't know. That might be Endorphin Pro 3 long run, who knows? But it will still get a lot of usage, but it'll pick back up again after the next couple of weeks, just so that we can get some shoe testing done over the next week or two, because I do have 2 or 3 pairs coming in. But overall, other than that, once that's done, this thing will be straight back in and yeah, clocking up the miles, and I'll continue to use it on those moderate long runs, on those workouts, on those longer marathon paced efforts. I feel like this thing is built to last. I really do kind of think this is gonna be a shoe that I can get a good 400-500 miles out of. Whether that will happen or not, I don't know, but it feels really good so far. Underfoot, the foam just has not compressed, has not changed. It's just becoming a better shoe every time I run in it. So yeah, there's going to be plenty more miles logged in the Zoom Fly 5. And to finish this one off, we're going to throw in your recommendations at the end, just like we did after the Puma Velocity Nitro 2 video. So after that one, I said I'd like to chuck in a new section after these 100 mile updates, where I showcase some shoes that might be a good alternative to the shoe that I have talked about today. So obviously I highly recommend the Zoom Fly 5. It doesn't work for everyone, but it works really well for me. But some other alternatives that you guys might like to consider, and what I'd love to hear from you guys is dropping in the comments what your alternative has been. So if you're marathon training, what has been the shoe that you've used the most for the workouts, for the long runs? Just share all of that down below so that people can get a good similarity. I'm going to throw out a few names here for people to give their thoughts and feedback on, and I'd love to hear yours as well. So of course, Saucony, we've got the Speed 3 and the Pro 3 that are out now. Exciting shoes. I'm going to be testing the Pro 3 very shortly. Hopefully get my hands on the Speed 3 at some point. But for now, I'll be testing the Pro 3. So that might be a good alternative, because of course that's got a carbon plate. So has the Zoom Fly 5. So we'll see how that goes. But obviously the Speed 3 will be more relevant because it's the training partner. Of course, in September, we've got the Asics Magic Speed 2 coming out, which is very exciting for me because I'd love to get my hands on that, but of course also the Nova Blast. Now, that's not a direct comparison, but my money will be going to the Nova Blast first, but if I can grab a pair of Magic Speeds version 2, I will indeed. That's another one there that I'd love to throw out there, but for you guys, I'd love you to drop in the comments below what your favorite, as I said, workouts, long runs, whatever you've been doing in your marathon training, drop those in the comments below. Brooks Hyperion Tempo is another great one, non-carbon plated. That's what I've been using for the first half of the block. As I said, I've got over 300 miles in that now, and that is rocketing, still feeling really good, better than the first pair at this stage, I have to say. So this one might get to 400 miles. Anything else, guys, drop it in the comments below. Share your thoughts and share your feedback on the shoes that you're testing. And once again, as always, I appreciate you guys sticking around to the end of the video and hearing my thoughts after 100 miles on the Zoom Fly 5. If you enjoyed today's video, please do give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Until then.